I now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questioning. Mr. Papadopoulos, I'd like to ask you, in your opening statement, you cited that you've identified major distribution hubs in cities, including Phoenix, Los Angeles, Denver, and Chicago. Is that in your opening statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so a general question would be, obviously, without revealing ongoing law enforcement investigations and operations, if you've identified the major hubs of narcotics distributions in these cities, Phoenix, Los Angeles, Denver, and Chicago, can we look forward to major arrests in Phoenix, Los Angeles, Denver, and Chicago?
Yes, sir. As you know, the DEA is constantly working these investigations. I mentioned Operation Last Mile, which was announced in May, which is a year-long effort focusing on the U.S. distributors of these cartels, where we arrested over 3,300 people, seized $104 million in cash and assets, and took about 8,500 guns off the street. That was across the entire U.S.
Understood. The American citizenry ask common sense questions, and we are sworn by our oath to convey those questions. And it's a good question. If you've identified a narcotics hub, and that means you're watching it, so we expect those people to be arrested. The volume of drugs seized and the arrests made is reflective of the realities of effective law enforcement, but also the overwhelming amount of trafficking that we're dealing with and the criminal activity. It's at a level we've not seen in America, and we expect large numbers of arrests. If we identify these guys, we've got to break their back, make them eat each other. That's just fine with me. Director Kagan, last Congress, I introduced the Homeland Security Fentanyl Enforcement Act. You're familiar, sir. This bill is written to expand Homeland Security Investigations Authority to investigate narcotics cases under Title 21. Can you explain why HSI is currently unable to conduct independent narcotics investigations? This gets into some jurisdictional authority that Congress should be involved in, so I ask you to clarify.
Mr. Higgins, thank you for the support on this topic. HSI enjoys a great long history and long relationship with the DEA, 25 years plus, and we look forward to the next 25 years. Right now, our authority is derived from DEA's designation, which allows us to work together, us to focus on our foreign counterparts, our foreign customs authorities, working with our TCIUs overseas, and to continue to work. Actually, Mr. Papadopoulos and I worked in the same Fusion Center building together here in DC a long time ago and had a great relationship. So just look forward to having that continued relationship moving forward.
Yeah, we understand and we appreciate the fact that long-standing relationships have been developed between the law enforcement agencies and working on the ground, but we must ensure that you have the legal pathway, a statutory pathway to conduct your investigation, sometimes in cooperation with other agencies, but with an independent capability that we must ensure. So I look forward to speaking with my colleagues more about the Homeland Security Fentanyl Enforcement Act. Mr. Chester, China is the main country of origin for precursor chemicals for synthetic opioids. These chemicals are then taken by the cartels and make drugs like fentanyl. We all understand that. You've made that clear. Can you characterize a coordinated effort between the cartels and China to create and distribute illicit drugs like fentanyl, and how is that changing as we speak?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. So the first major change happened in 2019 when China scheduled, at the United States request, scheduled fentanyl as a class. And what that did was it had the effect of reducing finished fentanyl from China to the United States to almost zero, and the traffickers got into the precursor business, selling those to Mexican cartels for production. The coordination happens on a couple of different levels. The first one is there is a broker, usually located in Mexico, that works with a broker in the PRC in order to order the chemicals, often from a legitimate chemical company who fills the bill, and those chemicals are transported and shipped, usually on an unwitting carrier, to one of the ports in Mexico or via air, where at the port of entry, it is diverted, and then delivered to the drug manufacturers. That's the raw materials. And then the payment for that is usually done through illicit finance enablers and brokers located in the PRC and in Mexico. And it is this network of brokers between the drug producers and the raw material suppliers that gives this entire global illicit supply chain its life.
Thank you, Mr. Chester. It's a massive network. We intend to break it. My time has expired. I recognize the ranking member.